broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
The animal is trap, trap, trap. Cause it's your solo. Cages full. It's solo. Right. And everyone's waiting on you. And you've got time.
You really embrace that.
I love that.
We didn't have Scott for the high note.
Scott holds the note out.
He really
He's
does.
not here today. Hey, Scott, he sends us love. Welcome to another episode of Orange is the New Black, the recap show right here on AfterBuzz TV. Make sure you subscribe. Click the subscribe button below, or make sure you go on iTunes if you're podcasting with us and subscribe there, or go to SoundCloud because we love our subscribers, don't we? Yes, I am Megan Thomas at Meg Scoop on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you have any comments or questions, make sure you use the hashtag ABTVOITNB. Oh, if you get confused like I do, just say it out loud. Orange is the new black.
Yeah, spell it out.
Spell it out, because I mess that up all the time. And who are you, lovely lady?
Hey, guys, I'm Sterling Cates, and you can find me on all social media at Sterling Cates.
And that's Sterling with an S and Cates with a C.
That's right. I should say that, I think.
Right.
Yeah, I guess so.
Sterling Cates with a C.
Yeah, and I've got my computer here. We're live. We're chatting with you guys. I see East Blue Drew is on here. Kanisha Luby. Hey, guys.
Hi.
Let us know what you're thinking. We'll chat with you live.
Yeah.
So excited to be here.
Okay, let's talk about episode 3. So season 3, episode 3, empathy is a boner killer.
Truly
talk
is.
about boners.
Yeah.
It's a lady prison.
Yeah,
boners.
well.
Okay, this episode was about Nikki's flashback. It was mostly about Nikki. And I'm glad we got to talk and see more about her because I think her story is interesting. Like, her character, I feel sorry for.
Yeah.
I can't really be mad at her, even when she acts like a butthole.
I agree, but I was a little bit annoyed.
With what?
Like her in this episode for some reason. I'm usually a huge Nikki fan, and I get that, there's a lot of reasons why she is the way she is. But in the flashbacks especially, I was just like, no, Nikki, really go bail them out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I don't know. But I love Nikki, and I mean, she's a great character.
Yeah. And so let's talk about that. So we see in her flashback that Nikki, she was, of course, a drug addict.
Yeah. First of all, I was right in my prediction last
Wait, what was your
week,
prediction?
that she has the drugs. But I said that she had already given them to Litchfield, but she hadn't done that. But she did have them.
You did.
So I was like half right.
Kudos to you. You did have that. So we see that in Nikki's flashback. She is on drugs, and they have to hurry up and go uptown to get these drugs, and they decide to steal a cab. However, in New York, most people don't know how to drive because you don't have to.
Right, and she brought that up. But you honestly I didn't know how you've got to be real desperate to steal a cab,
right,
and then wreck it, and then still not really be concerned about that, even after all of it. She was just concerned about where she was getting the next.
Yes, and then her friends, of course, are still in jail, and she tells her mom she needs the money to bail them out. But then she uses the money to get more drugs. And I was really, really upset with her about that.
Well, those are kind of the moments I was talking about when I was a little frustrated with her. But we saw in the Mother's Day episode, the beginning of the season, that, we were like, oh, man, well, that's why she is the way she is. Her mom doesn't care about her. Right. But then we see in this episode, in the flashbacks, that her mom, basically just didn't know what to do other than just throw money at her.
Right. And I think that's, to me, does that make it any better?
It really doesn't.
Right.
No.
I was like, does it matter if your mom neglects you or if she doesn't know what to do and she just throws money at you? I mean, I guess, every parent makes mistakes. Yeah. So, but here, I kind of felt like, then here it comes, I feel sorry for Nikki again, because when you see that she's in the lawyer's office with her mother, and her mother's just like, you have to help yourself. There's nothing I can do for you, and all this stuff. And it's kind of like, I need you to take some responsibility here of the fact that your child is messed up because of your lack of care. Right.
I think it definitely goes both ways, though. Like, she is the way she is a lot because of her upbringing and whatever it is. But at the end of the day, like, they talked about her mom had sent her to rehab, to therapy, has given her money, has given her resources, to do whatever it is that she needs to do. And at the end of that lawyer office scene, she says, only you can save yourself.
Right.
And it's kind of true, though, because at the end of the day, I get, like, it's a hard addiction, and it is a disease. It's an illness to be, that addicted and, like, fiending that hard for it. And I get that. But, I mean, if you got to want it for yourself as well. Right. And, I mean, there have been people who have been able to overcome that on their own. Right. And you can't blame other people. But I did find it interesting when, in that one flashback in the scene where she's with the two friends and the guy is hitting up, and he's like, my dad molested me too, but I turned out fine, and he's like doing all the drugs. I'm like, you might need to reevaluate.
Well, maybe not so much. But yeah, I definitely think, we're all responsible for our own actions. And so I can see why, at Nikki's mom's at the end of a rope. I thought the money would fix this, the rehab, all this, and still you're mad. Now you're turning into a rich, spoiled kid because we tell you that you have 8 to 10 years.
Right.
And now you're like, what? You can't get me out of this?
Yeah. And I mean, she literally stole a cab and wrecked it. Like, that's not a small
And you still had heroin
thing
on you.
Right.
From what the lawyer said. Yeah. So come on, Nikki. Come on. So
it was really sad when her mom said, I am your mother and I love you, but I am no match for you.
Right.
I'm just like, oh my gosh. You created her, though. You're definitely a match for her.
Which is, her mom clearly isn't the best mom. And we've seen that since, episode 1. I mean, series 1. Season 1. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about present day in the at Litchfield. So it starts off with him telling us that he has a buyer. It's his brother-in-law. Wants to make him look good.
I love his description when he was he was going on and on about, he was like, yeah, it's this guy, it's like a low life, blah blah blah, and he's married to my sister and like blah blah blah.
Right, wait,
so
what?
That's your family.
It's not just some guy, Okay.
Right.
Yeah, so he says that he has a buyer. Nikki's like, okay, cool, but unfortunately the drugs are gone.
Yeah.
So she still has her Gollum, Schmeagol Gollum, attachment to the ring.
Yeah. So in that moment, though, when she said that, what did you think of it? To me, just because I had that vibe anyway, that she had it. Right. I was like, I could tell she was lying.
Right. Yeah. At that moment, I was like, I think, because before I thought, somebody really took it or, but at this point, I was like, she's got something to do with it, only because there's no way for you to come off, you did something with it. I just don't know what. And so then we see that she actually did take the heroin, and she stashed it in the light in the laundry room, which is the worst place. Hey, let's just say this. Okay, you're in electrical, so you clearly know a lot of hiding places in this entire prison.
All the nooks and crannies.
So you felt like the laundry room with a faulty, easy light cover with 2 meth heads that work in there was the best place to put this heroin.
Yeah, I was thinking that she was going to put it back in the original spot, because if it's missing, I don't feel like Boo would go back and look for it there again.
See, that's the thing. I think Boo would might check it again, so I wouldn't put it in the same spot.
Just put it somewhere completely different. I'm glad we're strategizing.
I know.
In case this ever happens.
In case we ever make it to Litchfield. So yes, and that's what she does. She puts the heroin in the light, and of course the meth heads, Leanne and Angie, find it, and that was Angie's prayer.
Yeah, that was hilarious. She was like, this is my birthday wish. It happened.
Right. Yeah. So she got her wish.
Going off of that, though, but now Norma is doing all of the kind of voodoo magic praying stuff. So it's How did
this turn from, remember it was always Gloria.
Yeah, right.
And now Gloria and Norma joined forces. Now it's all Norma.
Right.
Everyone's going to Norma.
And Norma doesn't even speak, so she has that quiet energy.
Norma knows it's a bunch of crock, but she's not going to say anything. So, So then, of course, Nikki goes to loose check when she realizes that the meth heads have her stash, and she confesses. She said she had it all along. She was just attached to it like Gollum.
Yeah. But was she actually doing it, or she just wanted to have it?
I don't know. I think it was, I tried to liken it to my affinity for sweets. I don't have an addiction as strong as heroin, but I do love sugar. Right. And I feel like if there was a little Debbie snack, or if there was is a
Very
bag of
relatable.
Skittles.
Good.
You know, that's the closest thing I have to relate this to, you know?
Right.
So I was like, would I hold on? I probably would hold on to it just to be like, I could just look at it.
Yeah.
I could
Well,
look
if I
at
have
this.
a little Debbie snack, I'm probably going to eat it in the first like 5 seconds of having it.
Unless you've had a Debbie snack addiction and you've gotten over it, but you still like to look at them.
Yeah.
Because it's like the temptation's there. So I guess I can understand why she took the heroin just to kind
Or
of.
just to have that security of it, knowing it's there if she ever thinks she needs it.
Right, and also I think it gives her power to go, you know what, I'm not addicted to this anymore. Look, I have it and I'm not using it. That's another sense of power and control when you live in a place where you have no control because you're in prison.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I get that. So then, of course, she tells Luschek everything. She admits that she took the heroin, and Luschek is hilarious, by the way. I like his comment that he had when he was telling her that women, the reason they're in prison is because you all suck at crime.
Right.
Like, and I was like, well, true.
They just got caught. But there's also a lot of men in prison, so they must suck at crime too.
Right.
But, but Luschek, it was kind of interesting this episode to see him and Nikki, kind of the bond that they formed over this whole transaction, but also that he actually kind of cares about the inmates there. He's just like, I'm kind of glad we're getting this out of here. I don't want to see any of you women getting, hooked to it. And so let's give it to some random person we don't even know.
Right.
So I was like, wow, that was kind of sweet, but
I know,
not
like,
really.
wait, so you'd rather, okay, I see what, you'd rather those people be addicted to drugs. Okay, I gotcha.
Right.
And so he goes back and he finds the meth heads in the laundry room and he shakes them down and he gets the heroin back.
That he didn't do so gracefully.
Right.
Like, if you're gonna, he did it so obviously, but putting in his pants, he could have waited to do that until after
he turned the corner.
Yeah, but that was pretty smart on their behalf to catch on to that.
Right.
Even after being that high, you know what I mean? To be like, oh, he's taking it for himself.
Right. I mean, I think if you're addicted to drugs, you know when somebody's trying to steal your stuff.
Right.
You know, I think you know. And
or your little Debbie snacks.
All right. We should just say that for now. The Debbie snacks that he took from them. Okay. So then, he definitely gets the stuff back from the meth heads, and him and Nikki are bagging it up, which I was like, how hilarious is this? And Nikki's just like, ooh, yes, she was
fiending for real though in that scene, and I think this episode the most. Out of all the seasons, you can really see that her addiction was so bad. It controlled everything about her. So.
And it's so much so that we see that she steals one of the little baggies and tapes it into the desk.
Well, we didn't actually see her do that.
Well, no, we know she did.
But she kind of looks back at the desk when he leaves, and in hindsight, we could be like, oh yeah, that was definitely her.
And so then, of course, Leanne and Angie decide they want to tell the guards that there is a officer who has want to use that it has drugs and you took it and you're going to do something with it. And Officer Ford looks at her and he's just like, whatever, keep it moving. I don't care. We're about to get shut down. That's the last thing I need. I don't care. And unfortunately they have, because the meth heads make enough noise, they have to go investigate Caputo.
Well, of course.
They do another shakedown of the electrical. Fine. And of course, Luschek is like, look, there's nothing here. Mm-hmm. And so because
he's already cashed in.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. They're rich people. He doesn't care anymore. But unfortunately, there's a look on Nikki's face, and that's when we realize something's not right. And they find a little baggie. Right. And it was that moment that I was like, oh, this girl really has a problem.
Yeah, seriously. And I don't blame him. You know, he shouldn't have thrown her under the bus, but it really wasn't him. Right. Granted, he shouldn't have been doing that in the first place with her, taking the drugs from her. But, he did throw her under the bus, but it was either his job or her going to Mac.
And I think she had to be honest with herself. And I feel like when you start doing stuff like this, you need to go and look at all of the possible negatives. Right. In the event we get caught, who is probably going to take the blame? Him? Or me.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised, though, that Caputo he was just like, oh, it was her? Okay. I don't know if he necessarily believed it, but he went along with it.
I think because that was the easier route. Right. It's, you've got an inmate.
On his plate already.
Right.
So.
And if you have a CO who is now dealing drugs in your prison, that's a whole lot of paperwork you're going to have to deal with. You got to find another CO, and you might get shut down in 2 months. So it probably takes that long to find a new person. So he's probably like, you know what? It's just easier if we send her down to max.
Right. Can you imagine if he had found the actual supply of heroin that they had instead of just that that little bag?
Yeah, sorry, loose check would be gone. And I felt bad for Nikki, but she kind of foreshadowed and she kind of knew that she was going to be leaving. You know how when she was looking out the window and Pennsylvania came to talk to her, like she just kind of knew.
Yeah.
Something's gonna happen. I'm gonna leave here, and who knew? It's down the hill to Max.
Yeah. In that moment, I was just like, wow, she wants to get out of here. Right. That was before we knew that she hid the drugs.
Right. So I'm trying to think what's gonna happen with her. Is Nikki? Are we gonna see her again, or is this it?
I think we'll see her again.
Okay. Really?
I don't know. I want to see her again.
I know. I do too.
But they spent a lot of time on her in this episode to her just be gone forever.
That's true. So maybe she'll be back.
A lot of background and a lot of,
But that's a lot to be caught with heroin in prison. I feel like you're going to be gone. You just added, I don't know, how many more years to your sentence.
Right.
I don't see how they...
how many seasons of Orange is the New Black are we going to have? We got to come back.
I know. How many years from now?
Yeah.
Like season 30. We'll see her come back.
We'll see Nikki
I know,
with that gray hair.
Right.
Yeah.
So Nikki's down in Max. So we'll see what happens with that. Loose check, seems to have gotten off. So we'll see what happens with him.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know.
Piper's not sold.
She's not sold, no. Yeah. And so I'm sure she's going to have something to say about it, being the feisty Piper that she's trying to be.
Yeah.
This is like stuff that should be in a magazine, I think. Stuff that you should...
Oh, well, Megan, it is just so funny that you say that. Before we get started, so we give you lots of free podcasts here at AfterBuzz TV, and we love doing so. I just want to do a shout out to one of our sponsors here really quickly. So there's an app, and it's called Next Issue, and it is really awesome. So basically, you can get up to 5 devices filled with all of your favorite magazines, every single issue. I can show you guys really quickly here if you can see it, but for those of you listening, so basically there's every single magazine. I mean, I can just go list a few. There's Nylon, O Magazine, OK, all the, People, U.S. Weekly, Prevention. Well, the list goes on. Like this list, I can't even... show you all of them.
Pretty much everything that you can think of.
So you click the magazine. So here's Allure. Got Cookie on the cover, and you go to it, and then it has every single issue from weeks before, and it comes out as soon as it hits newsstands, so as soon as it's there, and you can get it on your phone, your laptop, your tablet, whatever, and so, I mean, you don't even just have to pick one, and it's $10 a month, but if you go to nextissue.com/abtv, you can get a free 30-day trial, and then from then on, it'd be $10 a month, but it's really awesome because you can get all of these you can get recipes or
so every magazine, like it's not just limited. There's not a limited amount of magazines.
No, it's unlimited. So you just
I can get 50 magazines if I wanted for $10 a month.
Whatever you want. If you have that much time to read, Megan, you go right ahead. But literally everything is on here, so you can go get that, and you have it everywhere you go. So if you're sitting in the waiting room or whatever, like you'll have them on you at all times.
Perfect.
So yeah, just go to. It is nextissue.com/abtv, and you can get your free 30-day trial and see if you like it. If you don't, then that's fine. But if you do, then that's awesome. And you've got lots of reading material.
Yes,
so
I need to do that.
There we go.
And also, if you love our podcast or if you hate it, go to podcast1.com and take the survey. It's like 3 minutes. It's really easy. But it helps our show become better. Tell us things you like, things you don't like. I know some of you mentioned online that you hate my singing. I hate it too. You know what I mean? I didn't ask the Lord to give me this voice, but he did. So I have to make the best of it. Doesn't mean I'm not going to sing. I'm still going to sing. It's just going to sound horrible.
You've got a beautiful singing voice, Megan.
That's what my granny tells me, but I think she's supposed to tell me that. But yeah, make sure you guys go to podcast1.com. Take the survey. Let us know what you think. It makes us better. And keep tweeting and keep commenting. Do you have any comments?
Yeah. Okay, let's go back. The past couple of episodes, I just want to shout some of you guys out really quickly. Tammy B is commenting. We've got Tori Card commenting. Brianna Nicole. She's defending your singing, so thanks, Brianna, for doing that. For Megan. Brittany Wilson, Mari Haydu, I might be saying some of these names wrong. Simone Sanders, Tiara Ruth. Let's see here.
Oh, and I have a couple of Twitter shout outs for you guys that are using the hashtag ABTVOITNB. Omika_Barb says, the flashbacks made us understand each character better and understand what they do and who they are. That's so true. I love the flashbacks. I think I love the flashbacks more than I love like watching what's going on currently.
Because it's so interesting to see, where they came from and what got them to where they are. And because we see so many scenes in the jail, it's really fun to see, oh, wait, they're in New York City right now?
Right.
All right, that's cool.
Very cool.
But yeah, so thank you guys for commenting and letting us know, when we were not sure about stuff in the plot or whatever. So we really appreciate that.
Right. Okay, let's talk about drama class.
Okay.
That seems fun. I think I would go to drama class if I was in prison. There's nothing else to do.
I loved when Soso was like, this isn't real improv. I took UCB classes.
Right.
I was like, oh, wait, I've taken UCB classes.
I know, me too.
I probably would say the same thing.
This is not how it goes.
Yeah.
So we see Counselor Rogers. We saw her in episode 1. She's finally back in episode 3.
Yeah.
She's a new counselor, and it seems like, she seems like she has she seems like a nice version of, like, she's just like Healy to me, but she's a woman, and it seems like she has their interest at heart. She really does happen to care about these ladies. But Alex brings up a really good point in her monologue that she has.
She's like, that's really great.
Right.
You should do it in drama class.
Right. About how, we're all good people, quote unquote. We try to be good people, but of course, even the people who kill people will think that they're good people. So what does that really mean?
Or doing it for right reason,
right. And so that speech, it's kind of true. I think there's sometimes people, even with Healy, I think that's a really true statement. He thinks he's a good guy. He's trying to do the right thing, but he also manipulates and uses his power to make things hit the way he wants it. So does that really mean he's a good guy? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's all about perspective, I guess. Exactly. But I like Birdie. It seems like she's forming real relationships with the inmates, which I don't know if you're supposed to do as someone in her position.
I think you are if you're a counselor. I think so.
Yeah. Well, so it seems like she's going above and beyond to reach out to everyone in the prison.
Right.
And you see that when everyone comes in and she's like saying, doing whatever.
What's up, B? Like all this stuff. Which I thought was funny because Healy clearly is jealous.
Oh, no. Yeah, I know.
So
and then
jealous.
when he said that to Alex, I was like, oh, Healy, please
and
stop.
everybody was like, okay, crickets. Like, sorry. Do your own thing. Stop trying to be like everybody else. All right.
Right.
And so then drama class, everyone's there. I love Crazy Eyes in drama class. Like, she wants to keep going up.
Oh,
she doesn't understand.
When she kept her suggestions were the moon.
Right.
I laughed so hard.
Where are they
every
at?
time.
The moon.
What are they returning?
The moon.
Oh, God. I was like, oh, my gosh.
Hilarious.
That was the best.
Yes. So there's a really good turnout at the class, and now Rogers doesn't really know everything that's going on with everybody. She puts Alex and Piper together as partners, as scene partners, and of course they don't want to go up, but it was really funny because we see that through their talking about the transaction of fruit at the grocery store that they end up making up in front of everyone.
Yeah, so they, because in the beginning of the episode, they're still having hate sex, basically, and just aggressively hooking up all the time.
Right.
But after this breakthrough, it's kind of like, oh, they're back together, and here we are. It's so sweet. You know how she loves soft fruit.
I'm sorry I sold you bad fruit.
Yeah. I was like, we talked about this last week. I'm just not really into this.
Something's got to happen. I just want something else to happen.
Yeah. Because it's a constant circle of them being together, them hooking up angrily, them being back together, them hooking up angrily. Right. It's just like, it's the same thing. So I'm really hoping that maybe next episode or in the future, this takes a different route.
I really hope they introduce somebody else.
Yeah, maybe.
Somebody else for Piper to be interested in.
Yeah.
Because what else can you do with this relationship between Alex and Piper?
Right.
What else is there to do?
Is Jason Biggs.
I know. See, that was a different dynamic to the relationship between Alex and Piper, because you had this guy in here and Piper's, her attention's being split between the two. But there's something. That's what I'm saying. I think I feel like they have to introduce somebody else.
Do you think he'll come back? Maybe.
I don't know. What else is there for him to say?
I don't know.
That he misses her and he wants to get back with her?
Well, isn't he with...
Yeah, Well, no, I think he's just hooking up with Polly. I don't think he's really with her. She's married, remember?
I think didn't she leave? Isn't she leaving her husband? And
is she?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I need to refresh
forever
her.
ago. Yeah,
I know, right?
It was kind of forever ago. The last thing about the drama class that I wrote down that I thought was funny was when He says it's not a phone, it's a dog. It's not a dog, it's a penis. I laughed so hard during that because it was so funny.
And Morelli is just like...
I was getting so frustrated. I thought that was one of the best scenes of this episode.
I know. I like Chang. She's so awesome. And also, I have to mention that when they were talking about the blowjob evolution, about like at the lunch table, remember they were talking about...
The sharpener incisors aren't the way they are.
Right?
Yeah.
How hilarious. Like, I'm thinking like, yo, this is a real like conversation. When you have a lot of time to think in prison. You think about a lot of stuff, right?
And sister was like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Okay.
I love it. All right, let's talk about, we were talking about Healy a little bit. Let's talk about him and Red. And it seems like they have a burgeoning, blossoming relationship that's going on. You know, we saw in the past that they were pretty cool because she's Russian, his wife's Russian. He wants to get closer to his wife. Now we see that he has a proposition for her, which is more like a demand. You don't really have a choice, but
he cleared her schedule.
Yeah, cleared the schedule, so you got to come and be a translator for an hour between me and my wife.
Yeah. But she's done that before.
Yeah.
But she's like, I can't be your marriage counselor. This is not part of my role as prisoner.
Right. You're right.
So.
I'm not getting paid 11 cents an hour for that.
Right. Well, they definitely do have that connection. I feel like the different characters in the show do have, that one guard that they kind of
gravitate
to.
Yeah. And so then, of course, the wife comes and Red's being translator. And her translation takes a turn because she's pretty much stops translating when the wife says that, he drools so much. I'm so sick of him drooling. It's like waking up, like the kid peed in the bed.
Gosh, I know.
It was really bad, and she was going in, and I was surprised Red stuck up for Healy.
Yeah.
She's like, he's a good guy.
Well, even before she stuck up for him, she was, after Katya or whatever her name is, was complaining. She was like, "It doesn't translate." So she was already protecting him in that conversation. In that conversation, from what she was saying. But then when she defended him, she was kind of spot on. I mean, I don't believe in mail order brides, and I don't think that should be a thing. But in a relationship, if you're committed to it, you both have to try. Right. And basically, Red was saying he's trying so hard, and you're not doing anything.
Right.
But I mean, if that was a normal relationship, I would say she was spot on. But since he did, I just don't understand.
But even if the fact that she's a mail order bride, she still has her end of the bargain to hold up.
Yeah.
His she thought she was gonna come up and be some
princess and
like, honey, you're still a mail
order
bride.
We're not going to the opera.
Look, he took you out of Mother Russia. You should be happy that you're in America because now guess what? You don't have to work. You're sitting at home. He took in your mom. You know how many guys would have done that for their mail order bride? You know what I mean?
And he's a good guy.
He is,
for the most part.
Mm-hmm. And he's trying. He's trying. So I think this is going to be interesting to see where their friendship relationship goes because it was kind of like. Oh.
It's real personal for a guard, not as personal as Bennett and Gaia, but
who knows? This might happen.
Maybe I was getting those feelings a little bit.
Right.
Wasn't it kind of awkward when he walked up to her and was like, he was like, nothing like being on your hands and knees, and then he was like, that's not what I meant. Oh God, this is awkward.
And speaking of the garden, I love how the ladies that are gardening are talking about, we should grow some corn here so we can make it really tall and charge for people to have sex here.
It's smart. It's a good idea because they're always looking for places.
Right. How funny is that? Oh, I love it.
Things you'll think of when you have the time.
And so then we see Daya and some of the girls are talking about her wedding. They're planning her wedding in how many years? 3-4 years when she gets out.
Yeah.
And of course, we saw the last episode, or we saw in the Mother's Day episode that Maria was really sad because her baby daddy said he's not bringing her daughter back anymore. So sorry, forget it. So of course she's been in a mood, and she gives a really good reality check to these ladies because they're talking about, oh, we're gonna be at your wedding.
We're gonna be in your wedding.
Yeah. They're saying all these great things, but the truth is, you guys are friends because you live in the same place.
Right.
Would you really be friends if you were free?
I mean, yeah, it was a really, harsh point, but it was pretty true. And it sounded like something like that had, she had experienced before.
Right.
Because you think, you're going to make all these plans, but then when you get out into the real world, will you actually do that, and will you actually like each other?
Yeah, when you go out for a
role.
drink, you'll realize, oh, we have nothing in common except for prison.
Yeah.
And when she said that to me, I thought it resonated more with Daya because that spoke true about her and Bennett.
Right.
They've never gone on a date. They've never, like, you know what I mean? They haven't really...
We talked about that when he proposed.
Right.
About how, they've never actually done anything in the real world together.
Right.
They don't know how to act as a couple except in secret or
Right.
to do, what normal people do. So that, if he comes back, because we haven't seen him this episode.
Yeah, because Daya also, she's asking around, and then we find out he's been gone for, he hasn't been back for a couple of days or so.
Yeah, because she even goes to the memorial service for all the books.
Right.
Asking around to see if anyone's seen him. But yeah, he wasn't in this episode, so... We saw him just driving away last time. So.
I know. I thought he was gonna. Okay, so I guess that's foreshadowing of what's gonna happen because I didn't think he was gonna leave. Maybe he just took like a weekend off or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so then let's talk about the book memorial because
I think all of our predictions on that front were wrong. Because
right. We had so many wrong predictions. The book memorial. Tasty and Poussey decide they're gonna take the ashes of the books that had to get burned because of the bed bugs, and they're going to return the ashes back to the tree because they're made of paper, which comes from trees.
If you've got the time, you might as well. But it's true though. Like reading is one of the. I feel like one of the things in prison that would keep you sane.
Right. It gets your mind off of what's in front of you. You get to go experience a whole new world, and you didn't go anywhere.
And like she said, I like the lives in the books better than living my own life. So it's a huge part of their lives there to take away. So. And
I love how they were just naming titles, pouring the ashes on the tree. It's funny.
Tasty was funny. She was like, oh yeah.
Right.
That's very funny.
I love it. Okay. And then we also see in this episode that the guards are starting to find out that Litchfield is supposed to be closing. And Caputo is definitely trying to lie to everybody and make it seem like there's not going to be anything happening.
Right.
But they clearly see through that, especially when they're talking about mortgages and he doesn't say anything.
Hilarious.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And
it's true, though. They do need a notice. They have kids and they have lives and they have mortgages or whatever. And so they would need some sort of heads up if their job isn't going to be there anymore.
Right. And so Caputo tries to lie and he calls Fig. We see Fig again.
Natalie.
Yes, Natalie Figueroa, the former, what is she? Is she the supervisor? What is the title that Caputo has now? What is it? Basically, you're in charge of the prison, but you're not the warden. So you're like the assistant warden, I guess. I don't know what the title is. Anyway, go ahead and tweet us that. ABTVOITNB. Let us know what the official title of Caputo
Superintendent?
is. Superintendent?
That might not
like,
be right.
I don't know. We don't know. But you know what we're talking about. And so he calls Fig, and we see that Fig has moved on with her new life. She is now, her husband won the office that he was running for, and they've moved on to the Capitol.
Yeah.
And she's not trying to be bothered with this little
she's like,
prison
those are
stuff.
Names that I don't remember.
But she remembers the name. What is the lover's name?
It was like Glenn or something like that, right?
Yeah, so she remembers that name because clearly her husband likes the boys and not the ladies. Yeah. And so Caputo is very smart to hold that over her head and say, well, since you don't want to help us and you're part of the reason why we're in this funk, I'm sure you won't have a problem with me outing your husband.
Right.
And she's just like, what is that? That's so petty. Like, why would you even do that?
Yeah.
Girl, you better help him.
When she said the part about, she's like, look at this from a macro level. I'm at a position where I can help people. I'm like, you do not care about helping anybody but yourself.
Exactly, and that's been evident from every single season. And so then we see that she, the threat worked.
Right.
And Fig comes to Litchfield. She drives and she gives Caputo some documents. And it was basically from a company that wanted to buy Litchfield and I guess turn it into a private prison.
Right.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I watched it several times. I didn't really catch what was going on, but it seemed like they wanted to buy the prison. And they
just take over it. But it would still operate as a federal prison. So.
How does that even work?
I'm not really sure. She didn't really give us much information there, though.
Right, and it's cool how the writers put that in here because if you notice, there is a big, especially with the prison system now, there's a lot of debate about private versus like the federal prisons, like what's better, a for-profit prison or what?
Right.
So I'm assuming
this place would take all the profits.
So that's yes. So this is going to become basically a private prison then.
Right.
If they get to take the profits from it.
Yeah, that's so.
I don't know. I just think it's not. I feel like it's like you're selling your soul to the devil now.
But at the end of the day, like, it's pretty much their only option on the table, it seems, right now.
Well, this shows you how good, like, Caputo's, I think, is a really decent guy because obviously, we remember from the last episode that he was told that his job was safe. He could transfer somewhere else.
Yeah.
So he would have a job.
Right.
But the fact that he's really concerned with his guards and they're like, I have kids, I have a mortgage, he's like, well, I want to make sure you guys still have jobs.
Right.
That was really nice.
Right. And he's done a lot to get to where he is right now. So
Right.
to have to start completely over somewhere else, that would be, pretty hard.
I guess I can say that. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that'll be interesting to see what happens with this prison stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like it, though. I'm just telling you, just the stuff that I've read about private prisons and for-profit prisons isn't a good thing.
I honestly don't really know much about it. So if that's what's happening here, I'm interested to learn.
We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. So is there any news or gossip?
No.
AfterBuzz TV News.
No news and gossip. I did, Laverne Cox I did see that she was talking about, Laverne Cox, who plays Sophia Brissett on the show, was talking about how she wants to take the stigma away of straight guys dating trans women.
Oh, okay.
And so
I actually just saw her on the cover of a magazine, which you could probably find on next issue.
Right.
But she looked really good. She was wearing a bikini and looked awesome. I was at the grocery store and I just saw it.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so
on
check
Stan,
that
so
one
you
out
can go.
on Stan.
Make sure you get
Find
the
that on
next
issue.
app.
Yeah.
It's called Next Issue.
Next issue.
The Next Issue app, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Just make sure I got that right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so she was saying that she wants to take the stigma away from straight guys dating trans women, and I'm just like, I was just like, is there a
I didn't
stigma?
know that. Yeah. Well, I think any education that she can provide, probably need it because I don't really know much.
I don't know.
Yeah,
but yes, she did that. All right, so we will see you next time for another episode of AfterBuzz TV's recap of Orange is the New Black. Be sure to continue to comment. Let us know what you think about the show. What do you think is going to happen? Don't you guys spoil it for us either, because we haven't watched every episode.
It's so hard not to just keep watching.
I know.
Clicking next.
I know. I want to watch it.
We do anything we can for you guys.
We love you guys. Keep commenting. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Sterling Cates.
And you can find me, Megan Thomas, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Meg Scoop, like scoop of ice cream. Until next time, guys. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.